Wake up, wake up. That's right. It's a Monday. It's October. The Niners have the Bucs coming up this week. We got a lot to get to. Let's go.
Indeed, Monday, October 6th. Great to see everyone. Thank you for being here. Hit like and subscribe on both channels if you would, please. And Larry, how convenient. We go from the biggest game of the year last Thursday right to the biggest game of the year this upcoming Sunday. There is no rest for the San Francisco 49ers at all. This is a huge game that they got coming up against the Buccaneers. But really great weekend, right? I mean, didn't you have a nice weekend?
I did.
Put a big win in your rearview mirror on Thursday night, and you just kick your feet up and enjoy, right? I mean, it was a great weekend to just sit back and let the NFL kind of wash over you, knowing that your team had already done its job. I love weekends like that.
It was a good weekend. Niners got it rolling Thursday. Well, then we lost the JV game to Los Lomos 3-0. So that was not good Friday night.
Defensive battle. I mean, it was just a defensive battle.
It was bad. It was a bad battle is what it was. And then Saturday I brought all three of my boys to Cal Duke, and Cal was up 21-7, and things were rolling, except they lost 45-21.
Oops.
And they just got their doors blown off.
Well, the only thing I should tell you, and I know that you had some minors with you, but you should have come to Plus Mania because we didn't blow any huge leads when we were there. We got the job done, Larry.
Well, it's good to hear, but yeah, Plus Mania unfortunately was not on the docket this Saturday. We're getting into that busy time of the year now, so but yeah, it was, and then watching the NFL. You know, I lost my survivor pool on the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, I'm looking at updates from the Circa survivor pool. Like, just about everybody lost this week. Everybody.
Brutal defeat. But it was a good weekend for the Niners because the Niners beat the Rams. The Seahawks, Sam Darnold did what Sam Darnold does. He threw a late interception, and I watched a lot of that Buccaneers Seahawks game. I watched a lot of Arizona's second half gag job against Tennessee. I watched a lot of the Chargers losing to Bill Merritt and the Commanders. And then I watched New England last night, take apart Buffalo in Buffalo. How about that? So, you know what? It's an any given Sunday kind of a league, and anybody can beat anybody. And rewatching the Niner game from Thursday night a couple times, it was really interesting how many people gave them no shot at all.
Yeah,
I mean, division game. I mean, come on, man. It's a division game, and the 49ers still had a representative quarterback. It wasn't like they were out there totally naked, and they took it to the Rams and found a way to get out of there. So good first half for the Niners Thursday night, and now bring on the Bucs and be careful what you wish for because the Bucs look good.
I don't know if you can call any like NFL head coach a normal person, but they got to be normal, right? They're just people. They're just they have to act like us in some ways, Larry. Once the Titans rallied to beat the Cardinals, don't you think Shanahan and like his inner circle started texting each other like, "Are you guys looking at this weekend? Are you looking at what's happening for us?" Do you think Shanahan, like, who does Shanahan text when he gets excited about an out-of-town result? I wonder who is in that little inner circle of his. But look, you're right. The Rams obviously began the week with a loss. Arizona then dumps one. Seattle loses at home. The Eagles lose, leaving the NFC without an undefeated team. And then every single trade partner, I know you and I are going to talk about what the 49ers might do, should do at the deadline to replace Bosa, maybe add a little bit more, gunpowder somewhere else in this offense. What else are they going to do? Every single one of your dance partners, every single team that you think you might have an easier chance to get a trade with done, lost as well. The Dolphins lost, the Jets lost, the Giants lost, the Saints lost. The Bengals lost, and they're an unlikely trading partner because of the bad blood. Even the Raiders lost. I mean, it would be tough to land a guy like Max Crosby. So we're not even going to start that show right now. But like it could not have been a better weekend for the San Francisco 49ers. And how amazing. It's the first time we've said that in how many weeks, Larry? We didn't say that during training camp. What a great weekend it was for the 49ers. It's been a long time since it feels like the breaks went the boys' way. So take it when you can get it, right?
Well, it was a good weekend. I mean, it was a good weekend, and they got a win, and they're going to get a couple extra rest days. And it's just, it's really as simple as that. It's funny, as the trade deadline gets closer, we're about a month away.
Larry,
it comes right after week 9.
Yeah, I've been told I got mic issues. I'm going to click out, click back in.
Okay. But it comes up after week 9. And, I think people always just assume everybody's available. But I would say there's probably very few sellers, true sellers. Like, who's going to be a seller? The Jets are going to be a seller for sure. I are the Ravens sellers? Probably not. Maybe the Browns, maybe the Dolphins, maybe the Titans. Nobody else in that AFC South is going to sell. The Raiders won't sell to you. There's no way the Raiders would ever sell to you. So they don't count. The New York Giants, even though they're 1-4, I don't know that they're going to sell, because selling means getting rid of probably Joe Shane and Brian Daboll. And I don't know, maybe that's coming, but maybe it isn't. I don't know that the Giants are going to be in a rush to sell. I don't see anybody in the NFC North selling, including the Bears. Maybe the Saints sell, but I don't think Carolina or the Falcons are going to sell, despite the fact they only have 2 wins, and nobody in the NFC West is going to sell. So you really only have Saints,
Jets, Dolphins, Bengals.
Saints for sure that will be selling, and probably the Jets, and maybe the Dolphins, and then as I said, maybe the Titans. So you maybe have 4 sellers. The Raiders might sell, but they're not going to sell to you. The Giants, I don't think, wind up selling. The Cardinals, I don't think, wind up selling. And if they did, they probably wouldn't sell to you. So you really don't have that many sellers. It's like all this talk about all these different teams that are going to unload all these players. I don't think it's going to happen. I think what you're going to see is that there's going to be 3 or 4 sellers and probably 8 or 9 buyers. And the price is going to probably jump for anybody that wants to be traded for at the deadline. So, we can get into options and that kind of thing. But I would say if you're really, to me, I've seen people say, oh, Trey Hendrickson. I saw Lombardi this weekend going Jeffrey Simmons. Yeah, I mean, if you think you're going to be able to add another Bentley to this, room full of awesome cars, then yeah, but I don't think that's the case. I would say get ready for, Carl Granderson and Davin Godchak.
Right. That's probably, a lot more realistic than a guy like, say, Max Crosby, right? I even put it out something like...
yeah, the Raiders Mark Davis would rather go belly up than see Max Crosby win a Super Bowl at Levi's in February in a Niner uniform.
Beyond all that, they just re-upped him big time. I mean, that would be carrying a level of dead cap money on their roster that they wouldn't want to. So I don't think that that's possible. To me, the one hey, you got a chance to add the North Star to your constellation. Would you like to do that? That's waiting for the 49ers in Cincinnati. That to me is doable. That could happen. Like a Max Crosby's not going to happen. But I do know this, Larry. What makes this such a big game coming up against Tampa Bay? There's the actual, let's talk about the math of this game. You got both teams 4-1. Both teams are 3-0 on the road. Both teams are sitting atop the NFC. So there's all of that and all that matters around that.
Both teams are 4-1 with single digit, point differential. Niners are +8. Buccaneers are +3. And yet they're both 3-0 on the road and 4-1 overall.
Yeah. So, who is really as good as they think they are? Again, this is the single biggest observation I think anyone can have about the NFL. Just where are you 5 weeks in? What do you have to say about this league? any summation other than it is as open as it has ever been in your life, I think is the improper way to look at this. There is not a single truly unstoppable great team in this league. Every single, if you make the playoffs this year, you got a chance to win the Super Bowl. You really do. I mean, it feels so wide open. So that brings us back to where the Niners are. So, like you said, they're 4-1, which, you know, if you just want to look at that, sounds like everything's great. We, better than anybody, chat included, know all the data points that mean this isn't exactly the healthiest 4-1 in the history of football over here. You know what I mean? But here's the deal. If they go to Tampa, Larry, and they win, and they're 5-1 with all the problems, all the headaches, all the injuries, at that point, whatever you're thinking about doing for a little trade has to become a little bit bigger. Like, this front office will owe it to this locker room to go get them a real help at the deadline if they're seriously 5-1 after this Tampa Bay game. I mean, you cannot look your team in the eye and be like, yeah, you know, we didn't do anything at the deadline. We're going to roll this money over into next year. And I
don't think they will. And in fact, there was a Fox report this weekend saying that the Niners and the Jaguars are the two teams most likely to be active at the trade deadline. I mean, I think to some degree, John Lynch has popularized the midseason trade with the trades he's already made.
Well, it's what he's done. John Lynch in the last decade has swung two of the biggest trades in all of football. The one that got you Trent Williams and the one that brought in Christian McCaffrey. There's no denying how big those trades were. So
no question. No question.
If he's done it once before, maybe he'll do it again.
Well, I think he's definitely going to do it again. It's just a matter of, you know, can they get a Jeffrey Simmons? I mean, Jeffrey Simmons is an amazing interior player. Now, I understand they lost Yatir Gross-Matos, and Simmons has been utilized both inside and outside, and he's versatile. But we're talking about one of the 3 or 4 best defensive linemen in the game, and you're going to be able to add that to your defensive line. I'm always a little skeptical, but that'd be great. I mean, Trey Hendrickson would be awesome. Jeffrey Simmons would be amazing. These would be incredible gets.
The reason
I wouldn't trade next year's number 1.
Right. The reason why you might get a chance at Jeffrey Simmons is because I think Tennessee might be evaluating everything, just going, hey, I know we had the number 1 overall pick in the draft and we want to start rebuilding now and support our guy now, but we're going to go through a regime change here. Like Brian Callahan, will he last the year? Is he the Titans head coach next year? If he's not, you might be thinking about replacing the GM as well. I mean, I don't know. If they're blowing it all up, maybe a guy like that's available. Maybe.
He's a great player. I mean, it's seriously shopping off the top shelf. I don't think it's that year. I really don't think it's the year to shop for the top shelf. I think it's the volume year. You know, what do you have? You have a bunch of rookies and you have some of the NFL's best players, but what you don't have is you don't have quite the same depth as you've had. So I don't know. To me, this is the year this is just my observation from afar, but from afar, I would say this is the year you go for two guys instead of one. You know, and I just bring up the Saints because I think the Saints are going to be a seller. Carl Granderson really gave the Niners trouble off the edge in that game in the Dome a few weeks back. And then Godchalk is a really, really strong run defender. And that's really what the Niners need. They need both they need a couple more guys up front. They need one guy who's a really, really strong run defender. They can plug into their D line from time to time. And then they need one guy who can really heat up the quarterback opposite Huff. And I think Granderson kind of fits that mold. They also have Cam Jordan and they've got others, but I think that's, if you said what makes the most sense, if I said, you know, for what I want to spend, for what I want to buy, for where the team's at, I would say Davin Godchalk and Carl Granderson are probably a better answer than just one player. But I will say this, if they can get either Jeffrey Simmons out of Tennessee or Trey Hendrickson off of the Bengals, I'd be doing cartwheels. But, I mean, they got a big game this week, and it's going to be really interesting to see how the Niners fare this week, because I watched a ton of Tampa, Seattle, and there was good and bad there. There was good and bad, right? I mean, Tampa did not sack Sam Darnold at all. Sam Darnold completed 82.4% of his passes in this game. The Bucs were without Jamel Dean and Benjamin Morrison, two of their top corners, because of injury. So they won the game, but that they didn't look perfect. But Baker Mayfield sure does, and Emeka Egbuka sure does. So
well, let me just tell you, Emeka Egbuka is the single best player in football that does not get talked about. Like when you're sitting around with your buddy at a bar just talking about football, and he's certainly the best wide receiver in this game who just doesn't join that, wide receiver, who's the best wide receiver in football type of conversation. This guy's got 445 yards, 5 touchdowns. 9 of his catches are for over 20 yards. He's got 25 receptions. He's explosive, Larry. He is really good. These Ohio State
back 100-yard days.
Yeah, he is really good. He's really good. And I think as you start putting together the defensive game plan and Saleh is looking, that's got to be the first name circled, right?
Well, I mean, they've got a bunch of other talents, I mean, it's not like that, but there's no Bucky Irving, and they've had some injuries at receiver, and this guy's stepped up. Well, he's Bucky just Irving what he is. He's a big, polished receiver. So, did he run the greatest 40? No, but he was fast. He was always this was a guy that was never considered to even be the best receiver on his college team. He's always been kind of like the other guy. But what he's done is he's just quietly gone about his business, improved. His ball skills get better every year. He's a big-bodied guy. We're talking about 6'1", 205, kind of jacked up.
Yeah.
And he runs pretty fast, but he's a really good route runner, tremendous ball skills. And Baker is putting it on him. And the last 2 weeks, Baker has thrown him exactly 17 passes. He's caught 11 for 264 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Can we talk a little bit about Baker Mayfield? Because, I mean, is he not living proof that the Browns just have no clue? I mean, Baker Mayfield is...
the Rams also had him, too, for nothing.
Well, but he was, they had Matthew Stafford, too, right? I mean, there was a reason to not play Baker Mayfield. There wasn't really no reason in Cleveland to move on from Baker Mayfield. He's nearly 1,300 yards on the year, 10 touchdowns, an interception. And he really is. He's a deadly combination of efficient and explosive. Yeah, I mean, who he kind of reminds me of a little bit? Brock Purdy. A little bit. I mean, because he's not a physically imposing figure. He does not stand out as, you bad motherfucker on a football field. He just doesn't. But he's sneaky athletic. He is a hell of a competitor. He wants to win as much as anybody who looks like they're big badasses out there. Maybe even a little bit more. Like he's feisty. He's a hothead. And he'll explode on you. Like he will take that deep shot. He is big game hunting while also doing a really good job making all of his layups as well. I mean, he's efficient. He's got a rocket for an arm. I mean, he's got incredible.
Well, I mean, he's got a lot going on. I mean, this guy was the first pick in the draft for a reason.
Yeah, he's really
got
good.
He's got huge hands. He can control the football, and he's got a great ball. Then he also runs 4 or 5 times a game. So it's like his rushing totals this year have gone 5 for 39, 3 for 33, 4 for 44, 2 for 13, and 5 for 15. So he, if you give him a lane, he's going to take it.
Right. He's a better running back than Brian Robinson Jr. has been so far.
He's going to complete 65% of his passes for sure. He's a gunslinger. He's got terrific weapons. He's in lockstep with those weapons. He had a pretty good team around him line-wise until the injuries started happening. But I mean, this guy's he was my favorite quarterback in that particular draft. And I always liked him. He's kind of a hothead. He's had problems off the field. But you know what? He's a really good young quarterback. And it just goes to show. I mean, this is the battle of the reclamation quarterbacks. Baker was given up for dead. Mack was given up for dead. Now here they are in week 6, quarterbacking 2 of the NFL's only 4-1 football teams. And it just goes to show that, you know what? In my opinion, I would rather shop in the reclamation quarterback aisle than in the rookie quarterback aisle, because in the rookie quarterback aisle, every guy played great in college. Every guy is going to be the next great this or that. And the reality says that the NFL, chews up and spits out at least half these guys. So I'd almost rather take a look at what these guys look like in the pros, see who's got talent but is in the wrong spot, and get that guy for nothing instead of trading heaven and earth to move up in the draft for Caleb Williams or Drake May. Or it's like you may get a Drake May or a Jaden Daniels, but you may get, Trey Lance, you may get Caleb Williams, you may get Zach Wilson, so it's kind of a crapshoot.
You know what? You want another? Can I throw another dart in the Larry is right dartboard?
Sure.
Carson Wentz. Did you see him this weekend? Carson Wentz. If you got up early on Sunday morning and watched that game from London, first of all, Carson Wentz at the end of that game goes up to Dylan Gabriel, who in his rookie debut played pretty well. Carson Wentz is an entire person bigger than Dylan Gabriel. I mean, he's got to be 7 inches above the guy. He's just Carson Wentz is
6'5", 6'5.5". Dylan Gabriel's like 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah, this guy. He's.
How about Daniel Jones, Damon? Daniel Jones is the Colts are 4-1, and their offense is a total revelation.
And it's not
Daniel
like
Jones has suddenly found himself.
Larry, it's not like he's being carried by a really good running game and defense. He's like the third leading passer in football right now. Daniel Jones. Indiana Jones. It's amazing.
Sam Darnold had a big day yesterday. I mean, it's this idea that you're gonna, for every Josh Allen, there's a bunch of guys that don't make it, but in that group that doesn't make it, there's probably somebody who can play.
It's easy to give up and move on. You look at a guy, you say, all right, he's got 3 years to show me he can do it or not. And then if not, by the time year 3 is over, we're going to go back to the bin to pull a new one out and see if that guy can make it. And we're going to kind of move on. A lot of these guys just need time. I mean, this is something you and I have talked about since like sports byline days, Larry. I mean, we've been having this conversation for like 20 years that every quarterback is running his own little individual race. How quickly can I figure out the league before I get hurt and while my team improves around me? Can they get it right around me? Can I stay healthy while I'm figuring it out? And if everything comes together, hey, you got a good offense. So many guys are giving up on. This is why I'm all for roster expansion. This is why it would be great to have a player on your team that you like, just hasn't started, but you don't want to stop investing in, and you can keep investing in that player, because some guys do not develop on what the NFL says its timeline should be. Some guys are, individuals are on their own timeline. You don't have long, you don't get forever in this league, obviously, but there are too many examples of, hey, a guy in year 3 that everyone was giving up on, pretty damn good by year 5, right? A new situation, but there's also situations at stake here. There are some teams you just don't want to be a part of. I mean, if you're going to be a New York Jet, you're just fucked. There's like nothing you can do about it. There's no ability to get over it. There's no coaching that gets you through it. There's no change that ever changes really that organization. You're just in a bad situation. And then you get out of the bad situation, things can get a little bit better. So
I mean, it's not a straight line to the top. I mean, this offseason will be a good example. Mac Jones potentially could be available in a trade. He won't be available as a free agent, but he could be available in a trade. You could have some other veterans, guys like Kirk Cousins, available. And then you've got this very speculative quarterback market. Lenora Sellers, Fernando Mendoza, John Mateer, Dante Moore from Oregon, Drew Aller from Penn State. They just lost to UCLA. Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, Carson Beck from Miami, Cade Klubnik from Clemson. I mean, you got a bunch of guys there. But it's like maybe one or two of those college guys is going to figure it out. But, it almost seems like it might be safer to trade for Tanner McKee or Mac Jones or, somebody who's in the league who's hasn't quite had that opportunity right or the timing hasn't been quite right. I mean, it just takes a while. And, this is not a new thing. I mean, it's like go back and look at all the Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Most of them weren't good initially. For every Andrew Luck, for every Russell Wilson, for every Ben Roethlisberger, there's at least 5 or 6 other guys that just took a little time. Just takes a little time. So this week's going to be proof. Reclamation Baker, Reclamation Mac, and yet they're both playing excellent football, and I expect this to be a really exciting game.
Now, are we just absolutely 100% penciling Mac Jones into the start?
Yes.
Is that you, or have you heard something this weekend that Purdy is going to be played back here?
No, the latest it came out on game day that Purdy's had regression and that it's more of a week-to-week thing. I mean, we're always going to ask the questions. The questions will be asked, and it's not official. But unless Mac suffered a serious injury of his own, I think it's fait accompli. He's out there in week 6.
I hope he is. I mean, I hope that there's an MRI over the weekend revealed that Mac Jones got knocked out of his uniform in that Rams game, and this is why he can't go. All I can tell you is that when it comes to the 49ers telling you who's injured, what's hurt, and time of recovery, I don't trust them at all. I really don't. And I watched them. You watched them, kind of rush Purdy back in when they said this could be up to a 6-week injury.
I don't think they rushed him back. I think he rushed himself back.
Well, but, you can't allow that to happen, right? If you're the team.
I mean, I agree, but so, they're of the mindset of like, hey, look, he's our starting quarterback. If he says he's ready to go and our doctors feel he's ready to go, we're going to put him out there. I thought it was a mistake. I don't think they should have put him out there. I think if it was me, now what is you're right about the Niners and their some things are transparent. Then there's translucent. The Niners are what we call opaque. There's no light gets through, no info gets through, and it's a lot of misdirection. So they're obviously always not transparent, but opaque on these injuries. And I mean, who knows where everything's at. It's just like a big dice roll. But if it was me, and if this is really turf, I mean, we don't even know what it is. Is it turf toe? Is it not turf toe? If it's turf toe and he played one game and exacerbated it, it's a bad injury that can be career threatening. And you've got a lot of money invested in this player. I think it's in their financial best interest to shut him down. And if there's a surgical remedy, if there's a surgical remedy that has to happen here, I would get down that road and have that surgery and see. Because you're not. What are you going to do? Are you really going to just keep putting Brock Purdy out there every time he can stomach the pain so that he can make it worse and you can have this disjointed season of 3 games of Brock, 2 games of Mac, back to Brock for a game. Now he's hurt worse. 2 more games of Mac, back to Brock. He's hurt worse. Now we're going to go with 3 games of Mac. Okay, now we're going back to. Is that really how you want your season to unfold? I think it might be in their best interest and in Brock's best interest to sit him down, have the surgery, add another quarterback, and let him get healthy.
I mean, we haven't heard surgery's been even recommended for this, so that's a little bit stretched too far. Normally, turf toe is not a season-ending injury. Obviously, we're watching Joe Burrow go through the extreme example of turf toe right now in this year. But I don't think Brock is there. And if he is, the fact that they would have played him against Jacksonville is a level of medical negligence that we, should talk about. I just, it's a tough situation to be in. It really is. But it's a great situation. That's the thing. People who want to look at this as this is bad for the Niners, or there's a quarterback controversy here, I really don't think that there is. They're in a good situation, even though it's a little bit of a perilous situation. It feels like, you just don't know who's gonna go. You'd like to know on Monday who's playing on Sunday, and it feels like that's kind of always hard to do around the 49ers. It really is. I'll tell you this, it seems like the promise of George Kittle's return was a little bit premature. Week 6 was circled a few weeks ago by Shanahan publicly, now a little less optimistic, saying that the Falcons game in week 7, which is the Sunday night game, could be when we see George Kittle again, but Malik Mustafa might be back this week. His practice window's opened, which means he's got 3 weeks to show I'm ready to go, and he could be eligible for return from IR. So Malik Mustafa, he tore his ACL final week of last year. It's a pretty quick turnaround for him if he is ready to go. So we'll see.
Well, they need him. I mean, he's a great player. He might be one of their greatest players. And he's a very much of a physical tone setter. It'd be great to have him. So, yeah, I mean, that would be fantastic. None too soon either. I mean, this guy is just a thumper. He's an intimidator. He's an old school 1980s type safety. So, yeah, get him in there. Get him in there as soon as you can. I'd love to see Mustafa doing his thing. He's great.
So I was looking at the rest of the schedule here, Larry. Do you want to play a little strength of schedule? You want to
Sure.
rank how big these games are? So there are 12 games left. Let's put them in order. The biggest game left on this season is that Rams game in Week 10. There's no doubt about it. That is your lead dog rival right now. That is, let's see where they are a couple weeks from now themselves. But that is the biggest game remaining left in this year. Rams Week 10. Any arguments?
The biggest game left in the schedule, I guess.
By the way, the second biggest game left on the schedule is Tampa Bay. If Tampa Bay were in the NFC West, maybe that would be the biggest game. But I got to go with the division rival over the NFC rival. But Tampa Bay.
I don't know if I look at any of these games as like the biggest game. There's no Niners Cowboys here. To me, these are all kind of. I would definitely agree. The Rams game is probably the biggest game, just because it's a division game, right, and it's the next division game, and you could sweep the Rams. But the rest of these games, I don't know if I would put them over any, one over another.
Right. It gets a little nebulous and hard to figure out who is who. But here, I did it anyway. I agree with you, but I did it anyway. So it's Rams, Buccaneers. The third biggest game remaining is the Colts. Now, the Colts could be something completely different by the time the 49ers roll into Indianapolis in Week 14. I have seen the Colts spit bits on seasons and have 6-game losing streaks that come out of nowhere. Happens all the time. Let's see who they are. But that could be a legit AFC big boy. Still remaining.
I kind of think I'll push back. I'll say the Atlanta game's bigger because the Niners could easily be battling the Falcons for one of the wild card spots in the NFC if they don't win the division. So I would say, if Tampa's important, it's only as important as Atlanta because they're both NFC South contenders that could be fighting the Niners for a wild card berth.
I've got Atlanta the very next game. I got the Falcons right after that. Maybe Colts are a big deal. That's a Super Bowl preview level game in Week 14. A lot has to happen before we get to that. At number 5, I got your remaining division game at Arizona. At number 6, Week 8 at Houston. That's a really good defense, and C.J. Stroud just played pretty well yesterday. At the New York Giants, hey, the Chargers lost there. You never know, and MetLife Turf is always scary. Week 17 game against Chicago. What are the Bears going to be by then? We don't know. Then you got Carolina, Tennessee, Cleveland. I'll just put them. Who gives a shit? You should be 2-1 in that 3-game stretch. And then the last important game is the last game of the year because we don't know. That could be a full throwaway game against the Seahawks in Week 18. Or it means an awful lot, which means it would be the biggest game of the year out of nowhere. So I like their schedule there. Again, here's the thing. They're going to win 6 of 12 for sure. So, I mean, I think the Niners, for a year that has not gone right or well, they haven't even necessarily played well yet, they could not be better positioned.
Well, I mean, think of it this way. They are in the teeth of their schedule right now. Right now. If you look, I mean, September included, New Orleans, Arizona, Jacksonville, Seattle. Okay. They went 3-1. But October was at Rams, at Tampa, home against the Falcons, and the Falcons will be coming off the bye week and will have a major rest advantage. And then at Houston, and Houston's gotten off the deck. So You saw it yesterday against the Ravens. I mean, I think CJ Stroud had the best game of the year so far. The Texans scored on all 8 of the possessions that he played. So to me, you're right in the midst of your toughest stretch: at Rams, at Tampa, home against the Falcons on short rest, and then at Houston. This is the toughest stretch of the season, and they're 1-0. If they can somehow beat Tampa in Tampa, they will be staring down the teeth of their schedule this year with their backup quarterback and 25 guys hurt. And if they can get the win, they will be going through it, basically like a hot knife through butter. So, I mean, it's impressive to watch. It's not like they're destroying anybody. They've won by 4, 5, 1, and 3 in the 4 games that they've played. So it's not like they're taking anybody apart, but this is it. Because like after that stretch, then you go like New York Giants. Yes, you get the Rams again, but Arizona, Carolina, Cleveland, Tennessee, Indy, Bears. I mean, come on. This stretch right here, at Rams, at Tampa, home against Atlanta, at Houston. This is the teeth of the schedule. And if they can somehow go through this and successfully, that will really bode well for their chances to potentially not just make the playoffs, but to win the division and maybe host the playoffs in the NFC at Levi's.
And I'm just saying, looking around this league, and I want to talk about a few things that feel shocking through 5 weeks in football. The most shocking thing is how wide open it all is. It really is. The NFC, the AFC, the whole damn thing is wide open. You get in the playoffs this year, you got a shot to win the Super Bowl. I don't think I've ever said that about the entire playoff field of the NFL before.
Well, do you feel that way more today because the 2 undefeated teams both lost this weekend?
It doesn't. A little bit, yes, but I'm just telling you. So I think that, let's see if the Chiefs get up off the deck and beat the Jaguars tonight, and all of a sudden they've won 3 in a row and they're a little more Chiefs-like again. The Eagles are good, not great. Last year when I was watching the Eagles, I thought I was watching great, not good. They're good, not great now. That offensive line isn't what it used to be. This A.J. Brown situation does feel like it could blow things up and things get weird and loose in Philly. They're not as good as they were last year, period.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Philly was held to 45 yards rushing. Their offensive line, which has been just an absolute picture of perfection, is no longer that. They've lost some players. They've lost some talent. Cam Jurgens is not playing particularly well at center. Denver outrushed Philly in Philly 130 to 45. So they're not stopping the run and they're not running the ball. And Denver, by the way, against this awesome Philly line, 6 sacks and 8 hits on the quarterback. And that's a mobile quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, it's funny. People always do this all the time. They'll take the Super Bowl champion that starts hot and be like, oh, they're going back to back. And it's like, wait a second. Yes, they're the Super Bowl champion. Yes, they've started fast. But it's a long year. It's a long, long year. And you either get better or you get worse. There are ascending teams. There are teams that are on the decline. So you got to see where you're at injury-wise. I mean, I'll give you Baltimore. Baltimore is 1-4.
It's unbelievable.
And they lost yesterday. No Lamar, but they had no Kyle Hamilton, no Roquan, no Marlon Humphrey, no Ronnie Stanley. Justin Namdi Matabuke done for the year with the neck injury. Houston outgained them in Baltimore 417 to 207.
John Harbaugh had to issue a vote of confidence for his defensive coordinator, Zach Orr. That's how bad it was. Larry, and
they get the Rams next week. So guess what? They're probably going down again. Baltimore's probably going to 1-5.
And that's tough to come back from, for real. And you got a hurt MVP. Yeah. And I'm telling you, there's, what you don't see very often in this league? Even the bad teams, right? You don't see teams give up at home. Baltimore gave up. Baltimore decided we ain't even playing this fourth quarter. We ain't even trying out here today. Like, it was ugly. It got nasty. They were getting booed at home loudly.
It was the most lopsided home loss in their history.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like the Baltimore Browns. not the Ravens. Like there are some teams that, and I'm going to say the Niners are one of those teams. Okay, so maybe it happened once at the end of Mike Nolan. I don't see the 49ers really ever give up on a game. That's why Chase Young just jogging in that NFC title game stood out like a sore thumb because he was just out there Cadillacing.
It was the first half.
And that never happens. Like, say what you want about Kyle, what you don't like about his strategy, his drafting, his quarterback, him, whatever. His teams play their dicks off 60 minutes, no matter the situation, 17 times a year. They do.
They do, which is why I felt like Baldy kind of overstepped his bounds last week, saying that the Niners were loafing, and then Robert Saleh kind of addressed it and kind of pushed back on that thing. But yeah, the Niners have a culture where they get 11 hats to the football, where they play hard, and they do play hard. And when they get guys in their room that aren't bought into their culture, Damon, you could identify them from a satellite.
Right.
I mean, you could pick these guys out from so far away. I could have told you that Devondre Campbell didn't fit in their room months before he
when did you know it? What was the personality, locker room interaction or tip that made you think this guy's a loose wire? He doesn't fit.
Because when I asked him, yeah, I do. When I asked him in my first interview what happened, in Atlanta and this and that, instead of just owning it, what's that?
I mean, Green Bay, right? Because he came from, are you talking about a Falcons game or something?
No, didn't he? I think he went to Atlanta. Well, I have to check, but I'm pretty sure Devondre Campbell between Green Bay, didn't Green Bay get rid of him and he went to Atlanta, and then the Niners got him from Atlanta, I thought. But he basically was pissed of how he was being used. And the reports were that he had lost a step, and that, it really wasn't about how he was being used. It was more about that he lost a step. And then when he got here, he was still talking about how he wasn't used correctly, and that he's so happy to be in a scheme that finally utilizes him correctly. Now, as somebody who's, I'm on the lookout then for, is this guy show tremendous speed and quickness, and it really was
new situation,
or is this guy deficient in speed and quickness? And it's like immediately, like the first game or two, I could tell this guy doesn't have any lateral agility at all, and he was always kind of a tallish, linebacker. Those guys are usually not the most agile, not the most liquid in their movements, and then as they age, they usually get even stiffer. That's why you don't see a lot of older, tall linebackers, because it's hard to gain that, maintain that flexibility as you get into your 30s, early 30s, mid 30s. So yeah, so I could just see that he was like in that mode to like point the finger at others for his decline. And then I thought to myself, well, you know what? This guy's just a placeholder for Dre Greenlaw. Eventually he's going to get out of there. But then you could kind of tell that there wasn't a lot of warmth about his role, and I could just tell that it wasn't going to work out. And then once he started playing poorly, he started getting more and more surly.
Yeah,
and then he started kind of going crazy at his locker. He was screaming and yelling and swearing, and it's like, dude, I mean, literally, he's just like blowing up the television people's interviews because they can't have some guy off 5 feet off to the left dropping F-bombs. It's something about that tells me that audio becomes unusable. You know what I mean? So he just became kind of this big distraction, and it was really ugly.
I think T sums it up well. Campbell was so cheeks, dog.
So what? Cheeks.
So cheeks. It's just better than saying he was ass. He was cheeks. He was butt cheeks.
He was slow. I mean, the first indication of was the Kyler Murray 50-yard run where he went right by Devondre Campbell. But the clincher was the second half of the year Seahawks game at home, where in the fourth quarter, the Niner defense just needed to stop, and he's 10 yards down the field, and Geno Smith takes off running, and Geno ran right by Campbell, and Campbell never even got a finger on him, despite having a 10-yard up the field head start. He was waiting for him and still never got a finger on him.
Find an angle and use it, and he didn't either. By the way, speaking of Kyler Murray again, did he get concussed by an errant snap? Did you see this?
Well, I watched that game because I had them on my survivor pool, but I mean, not impressed by him. But
Kyler took. He wasn't prepared for the snap. I don't know whose problem it was, but the ball is snapped. He's in shotgun, and it comes into his face mask. He's startled by the whole thing. The ball's on the ground, and someone even says, "Is this his Cam Newton moment?" Remember in the Carolina Denver Super Bowl, there was a ball on the ground in front of Cam Newton, and Cam Newton did like he ordered a pizza before he jumped on what was a live football right in front of him. And everyone was like, that's weird. You know, you sort of have an instinct to fall on a football when you see it on a football field. Why didn't Cam go down for it? Why isn't Kyler going down for it? He might have been that startled and he left the field afterwards. There was no contact. He didn't get hit, and he left the field to be medically examined after he got hit in the face mask with the football on an errant snap. It must have been a hell of a snap, Larry.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, that's awful. That's awful.
It was just bad. I mean, it was really weird. It was really weird. You could tell he was rattled by the whole thing. And that's Kyler Murray for you. He's an adventure.
He's just, according to the people around him, he's not a great leader. I don't know. He's a great athlete, but I mean, they needed 10 yards to put that game away. He's the fastest quarterback in the league, and he didn't get anywhere close to the 10 yards. I mean, it was nowhere close. I mean, they didn't get close to getting that first down. So Jonathan Garvin, by the way, went right up to Amari Dermacado or Jonathan Gannon, I should say, and just gave him an earful. I don't know if you saw Dermacado's gaffe, but it was one of the worst.
Oh, what, dropping the football?
Dropped it at the
1-inch line. Yeah,
the 1-inch line. And
how many fantasy games were decided right in that moment, right?
Well, that was my survivor pool went up in smoke right there. Here right there. I'm going to show. I mean, that was an unbelievable. First of all, it was just a.
How does this keep happening? How does this keep happening? How did the Deshaun?
Here's Gannon talking to Dermacado, who downed the ball at the 1. And this is, look at this. Look how pissed Gannon is here. He comes over. Two guys are talking to Dermacado. He's just barking at him. Kind of pumps him on the chest. It's like, wake the freak up. Like, bro, you just downed the ball at the 1. You just cost us. They were going up 28-3 on the Titans, and they gave that one back.
You cost them the football game.
Lost the game.
I mean, that's the thing. And it wasn't like, well, it's hard to hold on to a football. These guys are out there tackling it, and he fumbled. No. He dropped the ball. And this is something
intentionally.
I don't get it. I don't get how can you be a professional? Like, you are a professional. You're a professional football player. It is your job. You think about this more than any of us. This is what you do for a living, and securing the ball and not Cadillacing through the
if it was the NBA, if this was the NBA, they would just allow it. Because the NBA does this. The NBA allows bullshit. The NBA allows guys to walk. They allow LeBron to walk nightly, all because they'd rather let him walk than call walking. But guess what? And then their announcers are such yes men that they'll somehow argue that that's a good thing. That NBA basketball, which is officiated so unbelievably poorly, and yet you'll have NBA announcers claiming that it's wrong. It would be wrong if they called carrying. It would be wrong if they called walking. It would somehow damage the game if we called the game the way it's called in the NC2A, the way it's called in college, the way it's officiated in youth sports. It's like, no. These guys are too great. They're allowed to carry. They're allowed to palm. They're allowed to walk. They're allowed to. Here's one that I watch every night in the NBA: lane violations on free throws. Lane violations on free throws don't matter anymore. You can have a lane violation on a free throw all day, every day. That only gets called unless it's just absolutely over the top and it's like some rookie. LeBron James is not getting a lane violation, and he's going to step into the lane before the ball gets released from somebody's hand in a free throw. And that's just the NBA. The NBA is sloppy and doesn't allow this. The NFL's not sloppy. So the NFL's like, you know what? Hey, you downed it at the 1. It doesn't matter if you're Amari Mercado or if you're Saquon Barkley. That's a freaking fumble, Jack.
Yeah.
I love that.
And that should happen. I mean, that's when you make your own mistake because you don't have the discipline to carry the ball through the end zone. That stands out. But
you can't cheat. You can't cheat the rules.
Right. But Larry, the Warriors have at best 2 championships if moving screens had been called in their dynasty. Let's be honest.
You know what I'm saying? It's like why? It's like this is a fact. The NBA's officials do not call the same game as they do in the Big Ten. You watch the Indiana Hoosiers and you watch the Warriors, and you see calls that are made in the Big Ten that don't get made in the NBA. Why? Why do they not get made in the NBA? Is it that NBA players can't abide by these rules? No, they're the best basketball players in the world. They can abide by any rules you set forth. They just don't want to call it. It's like a culture of look the other way.
I think I even talked to Steve Kerr about this, saying that it would be harder for an NBA player to go play in the Big Ten than it would be for a Big Ten player to show up and play in the NBA. Now, I'm not saying they'd be good at it or anything, but just based on the rules. Like they call carrying in the Big Ten. They call traveling. Just the smallest
lane violations for free throws.
The smallest of the shuffling of the feet on the catch. Boop, whistle.
How about this? In college basketball, they call backcourt. In the NBA, they don't call backcourt. I watch the Warriors. They'll literally throw it to a guy who's the last guy up the floor, and sometimes he's not fully established with both feet in the front court, and they'll throw him the ball. And most of the time, the refs are like, we'll just let it go. We'll just let it go. So it's amazing. But the NFL's not like that. The NFL makes all these calls. They don't really give that kind of leeway to anybody. And Mercado, what's your excuse? It's not like you're even a rookie. You're a pro. And it's not like this is even original. Like, it's not like you can say, well, I've never seen that happen before. Really? I've seen it happen a bunch.
It just happened.
Hold the ball.
It happened like a week before. How is
right?
This
happened 4 times in college last year. It's like, learn your freaking lesson, bro. I mean, if I was on that team, I would get in that guy's face and be like, dude, you might have cost us a chance at the playoffs with that idiotic move.
Do you know how hard you have to work on a football field to have success? And for you to be the guy who gives away success in a lazy, wasn't paying attention, trying to look cool moment. Yeah, that'll get a coach coming up to you and barking your ear off for sure. By the way, Dev, whatever this name here says, but the refs don't call an obvious PI at the end of the Eagles-Broncos game.
On who? I watched that game.
Yeah, and I there were a couple of everyone was complaining about the officials in that game. And that brings me to just kind of something else. Larry, I think we need to move into the world of everything's reviewable. I don't like whistles mean, a quick whistle means this can't be reviewed now. I mean, that
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. But can I push back on this? I went to Cal this weekend. That game started at 7:30 and it ended at midnight.
Right. Well, look, I'm not gonna use how slow a college football game moves to not have officiating in the NFL.
No, I know, but I'm just saying it is. You can't make these games. The NFL wants they want a good game, but they absolutely are demanding that it be in a 3-hour window. The 1 o'clock game has to end at 4. In college, the 1 o'clock game goes to 5, and the 7 o'clock game goes to midnight.
It might be time for college to really just say, let's not pretend this is amateur anymore. Let's not pretend this is student athletes anymore. These guys are pros, just at a lesser level of professional football pros. And it's time for it's time for college to completely adopt the NFL rule book with the running clock and not stopping on first downs and having so much clock stoppage. That's the problem that's hurting college.
It's an hour a quarter.
Yeah.
It's an hour a quarter. Do you want? That's too slow. It's too slow. I mean, it's like if baseball is sitting there going, man, we got to speed it up. How come college football's not? I mean, seriously, college football, get over yourself and speed that thing up a little bit. I mean, my God, those games. I mean, it works. It works in good weather. It doesn't work in bad weather. I don't know. Wyoming, by the way, had snow in their game this weekend.
Well, here's the thing. You feel it in person more than you feel it when you're at home. When you're watching a college football game at home, you got your clicker in your hand, you're flipping around, you're looking at scores during commercials so they don't bother you as much. When you're at the game and you're there for 2 hours of nothing.
Nothing. I felt like we were sitting there watching a lot of just the clock on the field, like telling us we have 2 minutes and 45 seconds left of the TV timeout. I mean, it's just, and not only that, then you get targeting, and they've got to investigate targeting, and every big hit is like, and we're looking at it for targeting. That's like a 5-minute delay. I mean, it's college. I love college football. Don't get me wrong. I love it, love it, love it. Love the atmosphere, but man, speed that thing fucking up. I mean, that thing's slow.
Back to the NFL, review everything. I want everything.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. You have to you review everything. I hear what you're saying. I'd like to have more things reviewed.
I don't mean review everything as if we need to double check every play, but don't have elements of a football game deemed unreviewable because of some stupid trigger that means this is now unreviewable. Get it right.
Yeah. Okay. So my thought on this is not necessarily about your angle, which is review everything. My angle is don't prejudge what you are reviewing. So right now it's not just like we're going to try to get the call right. We're going to tell you a call, and then we're going to hunt for evidence to support it or evidence to overturn it. And I'd rather do the horse racing, which is just, we don't know. We're throwing, instead of we're throwing up a flag, how about just, look, I'm 60 years old. I teach school. I got on an airplane. I'm here now in Philadelphia for Denver, Philly. And it was a super incredible fast play between two athletes that are the fastest athletes I've ever seen. I was running down to get here, so my head is bobbing like this. I didn't get a real good look at it. How about we just throw a flag and then go to replay and see what happened? Like in horse racing, the 2 and the 1, they're going down they don't say the 2 won unless we can have evidence that the 1 won. They say inquiry. Let's find out who won. Let's go to the stewards. Let's look at the pictures. And then they slow it down and they tell you who won.
Well, but that's, it's a lot.
That's all you got to do because, otherwise, Damon, then it's like, what's more likely? I'd rather tell me what's more likely than do we have video evidence to overturn the incorrect call that we all know was incorrect, but was made in the moment. It's like, you don't need to make a call. We don't care about that official. Just get the call right. We are all more interested in getting right calls than in getting. I'm not trying to protect the officials, and no fan who's watching football should ever care about protecting the officials. Protecting the officials should not be the number one thing. It should be way down the list. Getting the right call should be the number one thing. So anything that prevents you from getting the right call, take that out of the game.
But the problem is, though,
inquiry.
When you're looking at an inquiry, I mean, maybe you're looking for bumping or something like that, but you're basically whose nose got to that finish line first is what you're looking for. Where in a football instant replay, what are we looking at? Are we looking at the toes? Are we challenging the catch through continuation of falling to the ground? Like, you have to identify what you're being asked to review.
I don't think you do, really. I really don't think you do. You know what a catch is. I know what a catch is.
Maybe that's where the NFL needs to sort of redefine here. Like, you don't have to specifically say you're challenging this element of the replay. You're challenging the whole thing. We're going to look at it all. I don't know. But the other thing that I brought up,
just get it right. I don't want to. I'm tired of. Well, you know what? They didn't have a good enough angle. We do this and that. Make a call that's based on what you think happened, not, let's make the wrong call rushed, and then let's give the wrong call that was rushed like power over the right call. It's like it's too many things going on. And then I hate the challenge system and this and that. Review everything that's reviewable, and let's not have challenges. I don't want to have limits to this, because what if it happens 5 times in one game and no times in 25 games? Then we've got this one challenge that we're wasting in 25 games, and we're not getting it right in the one game where it had 5 challenges. So I don't think that makes sense either. I don't like the one time.
Did you see the home plate umpire up in Seattle, game 1 for the Mariners, missed like 28 calls around the strike zone? 28. It's one of the biggest. It's one of the worst.
There, Greg.
Yeah, it's one of the worst strike call got it right ratios of the entire year, and it was saved for a playoff game.
And they're doing away with that, right? Next year they're going automated strike zone.
Yeah, I mean that's it. There is no automated NFL official. You can't do it, right? There is no robot to fix what hopefully will be fixed at home plate for Major League Baseball with an automated strike system. I don't even know if it's good for sports talk radio and all that stuff, because a little controversy always makes the next day's show more interesting, human error and all that stuff.
But I mean, ask Don Denkinger, and the right. Cardinals.
Yeah, get it right.
I mean, ask Armando Galarraga and Jim Joyce about getting it wrong. The guy had a perfect game and Jim Joyce fucked it up. All I'm saying is, we've gone beyond in the moment, right? The moments that we all used to just remember in our head. Now everybody's just got their phone out like this and they're just trying to capture the moment. So we don't forget the moment. The moment is gone. Let's just get it right. We've already blown the incredible thrill of the moment for replay. Now we have replay. We're kind of in this in between where we have replay, but we still get something wrong. It's like, no. If we're going to have replay, let's get them right. Let's get them right. I'm not a huge fan of replay. I'd rather live in the moment. I'm okay with human error when it comes to my sports.
Here's the deal, get it.
But we're obviously not as a society. So let's move on.
I'm tired of, there's no such thing as a little pregnant. You know what I mean? Either get replay 100% out or put it 100% in. And for a game where there's so little inventory, like in football, measuring everything in the name of this game took 15 minutes longer than we wanted it to. I think it's important. It's the NBA that's got to get rid of all these reviews and stuff. Like the NBA, your entire season is not going to be determined by this one possession and how it goes. Like, it is nuts the way the NBA has allowed replay to come into their game, taking, the final 3 minutes of any game and turning it into a 25-minute affair.
There is no such thing as a non-disjointed final 5 minutes of an NBA game. It doesn't matter if it's Jazz Suns on a Tuesday night in Utah in the middle of November. It doesn't matter if the flow of the game is awesome for 3.5 quarters. When you get to the final 5 minutes, because of the number of timeouts and all the different things, I'll tell you the other thing I can't stand about the NBA. Stop. I don't want to see referees talking on camera. I don't want to see that anymore.
I don't need you looking into my eyes like you're trying to get my phone number as you're explaining to me where the foul was.
Yeah, it's just way too much. It's like, do you remember, I mean, it's there's just too much dialogue, too many relationships between these refs and these players. It feels so incestuous. It doesn't make you feel better. It makes you feel worse. It doesn't make you feel like it's more credible. It feels less credible. And in any NBA timeout, 5 guys are on the floor. 3 guys head back to the huddle. 2 guys go to politic with the official.
Seriously.
It's so tired. Please stop it.
And one of them's Draymond, who no official wants to hear another word from.
Oh, I know. I mean, Draymond Green should be like suspended on opening night. Did you see him last night?
No,
I mean, it's like, come on,
very
bro.
Little of that game.
He's just incorrigible. He's just there's no nothing. He's just never gonna change. He's the ref's biggest nightmare. He complains about every call. He could literally hack somebody in the head and be like, "What?
Right? What do you mean? You cut a tree down with an axe? No, I didn't."
It's like, dude, it's just, I mean, he's on my favorite team. He might be my favorite player on my favorite team, and even I'm tired of it. If you're not a Warrior fan, Draymond Green is like, you can't wait for that guy to retire.
What I've told anyone, like national shows, I'll go on, I'll do something, and we'll be talking Warriors, and you can tell based on the conversation the way they want you to answer a Draymond Green question. And I've always said, whatever your opinion is about Draymond Green, you're right. No matter what your opinion is about him, that's the right opinion. You're right. Correct. He is one of the biggest loudmouth assholes to have ever played this game, and I can't fucking stand him either half the time. He's also a Hall of Fame, absolute badass, mastermind basketball genius on some weird levels, and a defensive stopper that is so unique to the game that he deserves his own place in NBA history. And having said all that, he would have never been the alpha dog to lead anybody to anything. He is always just the other guy. But boy, what an important other guy he was to the Golden State Warriors. It's all true. Everything you want to say about him, it's true. It's all true. He's the worst. Correct.
Yeah, I mean,
correct.
It's funny, the whole Warrior situation. I mean, it's like,
did Kuminga find happiness last night? Are we all kumbaya now? Is everyone good to roll? Can we just let basketball sort of take over and guys find their own spot and level on a team? And he's got a new number, Larry. He's wearing the number 1, which means he's now clearly the first option. So congratulations to Jonathan Kuminga.
Wow, that's all I got to say. Wow, I'm not ready for my NBA to return.
Shall we do some supers? I'm ready for that. Let's do it.
Some supers.
Let's hit some supers. Oh, we haven't even thanked our sponsors yet, Larry. Let's say thank you very much. To Ike's in the Dubliner West Portal. Again, had a great time hosting us for Plus Mania. We thank them. And like Larry, I am also a sleeper guy. And your camera just went to sleep for a second, but it came back, Larry.
By accident.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, we're brought to you on this side by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Also, 49er football season, all season long, is presented by Sleeper on the Krug Show. It's the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chats, season-long leagues, and, of course, Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry, and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. And also thanks to our good friends at Habas Law. And let's put Habas Law on the screen here because they do a great job for the Krug Show.
They get a banner.
There we go. 1-800-INJURED. 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. Habas Law is a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Omar Habas and his son Tarek have been standing up for people right here in Northern California for a long, long time. When you're injured, insurance companies try to dodge. These guys say, no, you're not going to dodge. And they know that insurance company playbook because they've been battling and beating insurance companies for a long, long time. So they're official partners of Bay Area institutions like the Giants, the Earthquakes, the Sharks. So if you need someone in your corner, call the firm insurance companies hope you never call. And that's Habas Law. They will fight to make it right. Visit them on the web at habaslaw.com, Habbas law.com, and, of course, 1-800-INJURED. All right. On that note, let's hit some
By the
supers.
way, before you hit that first super, though, there's something that just was brought up conversationally in the chat that I got to admit I was wrong about. Deebo Samuel's having a monster year. Now I can say I said I didn't think very much of him, but then I drafted him to my own fantasy football team. So I thought enough of him to do that. But he has already had more impactful and big games this season for the Commanders than he did in the last 2 seasons of 49ers football. He really has. Deebo is a little bit reborn in Washington, and good for him. You know, I'm never going to not like Deebo. He had served his purpose with the 49ers, and it felt like the time did come to an end. He's playing really well in Washington, Larry.
He had a good game yesterday. This is what he's done so far. He had week 1, he caught 7 balls for 77 yards. In week 2, he caught 7 balls for 44 yards and a touchdown. In week 3, he caught 2 balls for 11 yards, no touchdown. In week 4, he caught 6 balls for 72 yards and a touchdown. And then yesterday against the Chargers, he caught 8 balls for 96 yards and a touchdown.
Well,
so he's got 3 touchdowns.
He's played 2 weeks without his starting quarterback, right? Jaden Daniels was hurt. And he is he leads the team in yards, touchdowns, targets, receptions, catches. You know, he's their best wide receiver right now. So
Terry McLaurin's hurt. I mean, McLaurin is their best receiver. I mean, I didn't think Deebo was totally cooked. I just thought that he is one of those guys that, you know, probably needed a change of scenery. And
yeah,
I don't think he's going to have a long career as far as in Washington. My guess is he'll play a year or 2 there, and that will be it. But good for him. He's off to a good start. And Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt sure had a good game. Fuji Simeon says, I can't keep up with all the Mark Sanchez news.
One of the weirdest stories you'll ever hear.
Sanchez was somehow he started a fight and then lost the fight. Is that what happened?
So, you know, you hear that Mark Sanchez was stabbed in Indianapolis and you think, oh, must have been, you know, wrong place. He's in an alley. He was robbed. Somebody saw a chain on his neck or, you know, didn't realize they were robbing Mark Sanchez. What went wrong? You know, Ricky Pearsall. What happened? What the hell happened? Well, it was a dispute with a 69-year-old delivery driver that turned into Mark Sanchez allegedly assaulting the old man delivery driver, and the old man delivery driver defending himself to the point where he stabbed Mark Sanchez to where Sanchez had to go to the hospital to be treated for the stab wound in his chest. Yesterday morning, he was arrested or charged with. I don't think he's been arrested. He's been charged with battery. And today that charge was trumped up to a felony charge on Mark Sanchez. The former New York Jets quarterback was in Indianapolis to call Sunday's game between the Colts and the Raiders. This morning, Sanchez was charged with felony of battery resulting in serious bodily injury for his alleged role in an incident. He was also charged with unlawful entry of a motor vehicle. So he got into the delivery driver's car to continue the argument. And he got public intox, which of course is where this starts from. Sanchez was hammered. He ordered some food. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. He gets stabbed. He's in the hospital. Then he gets booked on a felony charge. Let me tell you, both Mark Sanchez and the Raiders got carved in Indianapolis this weekend.
You know, it's so funny because I was working for Chris Russo on Mad Dog Radio on draft night the year that Sanchez and Stafford went one. You know, Stafford went 1, Sanchez went 2. And I remember saying, because there was all these Jets, you know, obviously Stafford went to the Lions and Sanchez went to the Jets. And we're there in Midtown Manhattan. There's a lot of Jets fans. And so my take was, this is not a 2 quarterback draft. This is a 1 quarterback draft. Stafford is awesome and Sanchez sucks. And that was basically my take. And these Jets people were not having that on draft night. It was like, he was like, why they were totally neck and neck. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, just because you guys have been saying Stafford or Sanchez, there was never any chance that Sanchez was going to go in front of Stafford. Nobody would ever take Sanchez in front of Stafford. Everybody who knows football knows Stafford's a special, once in a lifetime kind of a thrower of the football, and that Sanchez was propped up by a great SC team, and he's totally mid. And I just went with that on Mad Dog Radio, and dude, the lines lit up, and people were just pissed.
Well,
just pissed. What when Sanchez, and then Sanchez, of course, led the Jets to an early AFC title game appearance, and all of a sudden,
back-to-back AFC title game. But that was,
it was like, oh, Sanchez, you're wrong, and it's like, really?
That was the peak of Revis Island and Rex Ryan calling a really good defensive game as a head coach for the Jets.
Yeah. So Mark Sanchez never believed in you, bro.
The butt fumble is now the second most.
He's a terrible announcer, too, by the way. Fuji Simeon, how many more bad losses does Mike McDaniel get? 1, 2? Yeah, he's probably done at the end of the year. Fuji Simeon, how many more bad losses does McDaniel get? 1 or 2? We got that. We got this. Nathan McFadden, Malik Willis went 2-0 for Green Bay last year and looked more consistent than Love. Mac has been great and deserves flowers, but Brock is the guy. First of all, you can't just assert things. Malik Willis went 2-0 with Green Bay. In those games, Green Bay averaged like 53 rushing attempts per game. He didn't look great. He didn't look more consistent than Love. They just totally said, we're going to run the heck out of it. And they ran like literally 50 plus times in a game. So Malik Willis never looked better than Love. And as far as they won a couple games. And as far as Mac has been great and deserves flowers, but Brock is the guy. I don't know that anybody. I mean, I don't think too many people at least are saying that Brock, trying to disparage Brock. But I think this is not really about Brock. This is about Mac Jones finding a system that he can operate, at a very high level, and that's what we're seeing. I don't even think it's related to Brock, other than the fact that they're on the same team and there can only be one starting quarterback. But Brock Purdy, is playing with a painful turf toe, and he's also playing without almost all of his good weapons, and he's playing behind a pretty mediocre line at best. So I personally think Brock Purdy's a pretty good quarterback if he's healthy. But it's a team sport. I mean, is Hurts better than Mahomes? No, but he just beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl, and it wasn't close. So how do you justify that, or how do you make sense of that? Well, you make sense of it is that it's a team game. It's a team game. We got this one from Fuji. And by the way, Fuji ordered some gear. So Fuji, thanks for the ordering. He says, if Ravens fire John Harbaugh, Saleh might go there to coach. I've never heard any Steve Bisciotti, Robert Saleh connection, but maybe. Joseph,
there has been so much fully entrenched for John Harbaugh. There hasn't been a single coach rumored to a opening that hasn't been open for a long. I don't even know what the Ravens would do post John Harbaugh. I don't think they're even thinking about that yet. This feels like they're looking at their year going, everybody's hurt, including our MVP, and it just might be, the Ravens are having their 2024 49er season right now, aren't they?
Well, they're all in on Lamar, and they're 2-10 in the 12 games, the last dozen games they played without him. So, I mean, it's just really, they can't win without him. Cooper Rush threw 3 picks. They're leaning on him incredibly. Joseph Ernberg, if we make some big moves, this could be special. Okay.
By the way, speaking of 3 picks, did you see what Browning did yesterday? And that Jamar Chase was the Bengals' second leading tackler because Jamar Chase made 3 tackles on interceptions that were thrown.
Jesus. Browning's bad. He's from Folsom. He's a NorCal guy, but man, the Bengals are the team that you want to play right now. The Bengals are just really a bad team. That game, by the way, Detroit was up 28-3 going to the fourth quarter, and Bengals had all these garbage time scores. Humdinger says Hendrickson another 2 sacks yesterday. Get him. We got this one from Sunday Living. Happy 80th birthday to E. Norma Stitz.
Oh, Enormous Tits. We've always been a big fan of hers. So what are we doing?
Fuji Simeon, which team takes Richardson as a project quarterback? Ooh, that's a good question. He played at Florida. I don't know. Maybe Jacksonville? I'm not sure who takes Richardson on as a quarterback. I'll say this: I'd be intrigued as hell by him because he's just such a great athlete.
He is just on the
Colts. He's a backup to
right now, yeah.
Danny Dimes. Yeah, I mean, right now, Daniel Jones' success is showing that Richardson was really pretty bad.
It's also showing that the New York Giants might not have been particularly good either.
Yeah, no, seriously. D. Martinez's Baker had 4 incompletions against a good Seattle secondary. After watching our guys against LA, this game has potential to get ugly real quick. Yeah, but don't forget this. Seattle in that game did not have either Julian Love or Devin Witherspoon, and those guys are awesome. Those are probably their 2 best defensive backs. And yes, Baker, was awesome. Baker, by the way, completed 88% of his or 87% of his passes in this game. So yes, Baker comes into this game, the hottest quarterback in football. He's hot as fish grease, and the 49ers are going to have their work cut out for him.
I will say this, though. Diamador Lenore and Renardo Green just played a really good game in LA.
Yeah. Niners have decent 3 corners for sure.
And Siegel, who's getting picked on, because you're going to put the ball somewhere and you're going to attack a rookie safety every single time. You'd be stupid not to. He's getting better. He's getting closer. He is. I like Siegel, even though it's been a little bit of a trial by fire for him.
He made 13 tackles. I mean, that right there is good. His coverage could be a little better. Clarence Beeks, member for 40 months. Mayfield must go down. Must go down. Fuji, says Larry, this Saturday, October 11th, WCL football, SI versus Reardon at Reardon at 1:30. I can guarantee refs will be good. This is the year the SI Wild Kittens fall, and Reardon and the Reardon alma mater shall play in victory.
Larry, you want to go to the game?
Yeah, seriously.
I'm going. We already kind of wrote it down. Saturday afternoon. Let's go, baby.
We'll see. I mean, it's that time of year where I may have to check that out. I'm all in on Northgate football because that's where my kid plays. But, I did go and play for SI, so I would like to see my Wildcats do their thing. We got this G-Code Travels Vlog POV, best 90% accuracy in the Bay. Pinheiro field goal or Curry free throw? Which Curry?
Yeah, we get to ask that question now. Are we still talking
about
Seth
Curry shot 45% from 3 last year? That's not a misprint. That's not a misspeak. 45% from 3 for Seth.
Not bad.
He can shoot it. Blood Moon. GC is disparaging Brock Purdy. Also, Mac is our Cooper Rush. Yeah, he's way better than Cooper Rush.
Yeah, better than Cooper Rush.
GC Grant Cohn is disparaging Brock Purdy. All right.
Well, so it's a day of the week.
He's not a big Brock Purdy fan, I guess. NFL Niners for life. Fans didn't want Jones coming out of the draft. Imagine what he could have done for us throughout the years. I know. It does make you wonder.
Well, so look at it this way. Had Daniel Jones come out here and been, the Niners quarterback.
Mac Jones or Daniel Jones?
Either way, early struggles, you would have run the fuck out of town. There would be no grace given for development ever. The best thing that Brock Purdy did was win an awful lot the second he stepped into the job.
Well, I mean, look at this is where we're at. I mean, it's like Mac Jones was a Pro Bowler in the NFL his first year. But he has a couple bad years. Mac can't play.
Right. But here's the thing. I don't know what Pro Bowl even means anymore because it feels like the 8th best quarterback is now a Pro Bowler because the
granted, but we'll give it. I hear you, but it still always means that you're among the best quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And he made it to the Pro Bowl as a rookie, and suddenly he's terrible. What? Because he wasn't good for Matt Patricia. He wasn't good with New England. He wasn't good in a handful of games as a backup to Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. Suddenly he's done. Suddenly he sucks. I think we all just need to admit that Geno found himself. Mac, it looks like he's found himself. Daniel Jones has found himself. The reclamation quarterback is a thing. It is a thing. Steve Young was not good, folks, until he was 31. Kurt Warner wasn't good till he was 28. Roger Staubach, Kenny Stabler, you name it. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of quarterbacks were not good. Peyton Manning threw 28 interceptions his rookie year. Troy Aikman went 1-12 his first year. Do you
think that could even be survivable anymore, right?
Yeah, I mean, he sucks. He's a bum. He can't play. Get rid of him. It's like you have to hit the ground running, which is when you know that that's the case, it makes you almost never want to invest in any raw college player with a lot of skills. Like Lenora Sellers, I don't know if you've watched South Carolina yet this year, but Lenora Sellers is their quarterback. He is physically one of the best throwers of the ball I think I've ever seen. This guy throws absolute 45-yard lasers that never get more than 6 feet off the ground that are just absolute. The guy's throwing bullets, right? But I mean, he's playing at South Carolina. They're kind of raw. I mean, he's kind of a raw player. It's going to take some time. There's going to be bumps in the road, but he's an awesome thrower of the football. So
I mean, look, that to me is as interesting, if not even more intriguing than a guy like Brock Purdy. I don't love the player who's on the everybody here is a $6 million a year NIL guy. Give me the South Carolina quarterback who's playing, with distressed assets all around him and still playing well. I almost respect that more than the guy who's, on the world-beating team kicking ass.
I'm just saying, like, I'd rather take a shot on Tanner McKee or Mac Jones than just say, Garrett Nussmeier from LSU. Come on down. I watched Nussmeier against Florida a few weeks ago. He's probably going to go in the first round. He doesn't look like that much.
Look, people are telling me that Fernando Mendoza might be the number one pick in the draft. Larry, I'm really happy
pick in the draft.
I'm really happy with the year he's having in Bloomington. I'm very excited. And if they go into Autzen Stadium and win, okay, maybe we'll reevaluate everything. But if that's the number one pick in the draft, it's kind of a down year for quarterbacks.
I know. I agree. I like Mendoza too, but come on, man. We got this one from Kevin Wood. Grant can't be trusted. If Kyle drafted Mac in 21, Grant would have called for his firing. Kyle was right from the start. He should be trusted more. I mean, we don't even know. I mean, Kyle's on record as saying he wanted Lance. So, I mean, how can you be on record as saying you wanted Lance and then also be the guy that wanted Mac, right? You wanted the guy that you drafted.
Right. And if you didn't have the convictions to stick to your gun, what are you doing? Like, how can you, Kyle Shanahan, be talked out of the team control that you craved your entire, I mean, like, literally, it wasn't that the single moment in time that Kyle's entire life brought him to? Now I finally get to pick my rookie quarterback that I get to groom on my team. And he was talked out of the guy that he really wanted? Like,
well,
if that is true, shame on them.
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show that he may have liked the guy, but he may not have had the conviction, right? Some guys are like, like if you watch the old film, Bill Walsh is like, I walked into our draft room and I told our room, this is Charles Haley, and he is going to be he's going to be a 49er. And it's like, that's conviction. That's like before the draft, this is a guy, we want him, we're going to take him. That's conviction. Did Kyle like Mac Jones?
Right.
Or did he have conviction? Did he like Trey Lance? Or did he have conviction? Or did he, I mean, the one thing I'll say about the 49ers, it's pretty obvious when you listen to John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan that they do this group. It's a big group project.
Right.
They got their analytics people. They got their medical people. They got their coaches. They got their scouts. And I think the Niners' consistency in drafting would probably be a little bit better if it wasn't such a vast undertaking. And if it wasn't, if their evaluation process didn't include like 50 people.
Right. Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, what happened to the days where, man, Bill had conviction, Tony Rosano had conviction.
Right.
You listen to Jim Finks, you listen to Jimmy Johnson, you listen. It's like now it's like, yeah, but Bob in analytics says this, and our DB coach says that. Well, guess what? I remember when Jim Mora was in charge of the Niners, drafting one time, and Jim Mora Jr., and he drafted Mike Rumpf. And when I started asking him about Mike Rumpf, it was pretty obvious that he'd only seen Mike Rumpf like one or two times. And yet he was the defensive coordinator, and he likely made the pick. And it's like, well, wait a second. A guy who's likely going to make the pick only saw your first round draft choice one or two times. I mean, it just, and they screwed it up. Mike Rumpf couldn't play corner. He wasn't a good first round pick. It was a bust.
Look, sometimes
Mora didn't last long because of it. It's like,
look, sometimes convictions bring you right to your own firing. Jim Druckenmiller, right? Yeah. Bill Walsh had so much conviction and was wrong at that point. He'd lost.
He had conviction on Gio Carmazzi. Bill Walsh literally in the Tom Brady draft. Bill Walsh had Tom Brady at the local pro day, and drafted Gio Carmazzi. And then had the balls to sit there and tell everybody that Gio Carmazzi was a great draft choice and was going to be a great NFL quarterback. And you passed on Tom Brady.
Whenever
in your backyard.
Whenever you can get a quarterback from Hofstra, Larry, you do it.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Exactly.
Oh, by the way,
he was a scouting dream. He was a scout's dream, Damon. He had, a high number of reps at 225. He was a Rhodes Scholar.
Right.
When you can point, that's the problem. When you can point to all these things, it's like, this guy's smart. This guy's athletic. This guy's this. Yeah, guess what? I watched him throw one pass in the preseason. He had a shot put like motion where he pushed the ball with his arm like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I saw him throw one fucking pass and said, this guy will never be jack crap in the NFL. And who am I? How come I can tell when a guy throws like this that he's not an NFL quarterback, but Walsh couldn't? Because they're too in love with
guy.
They fell in love with Steve Young. They wanted to find another Steve Young. They found a guy who was smart and mobile, and they just said, he's the guy.
By the way,
wrong.
The Oregon Ducks shit talking has already begun.
Hey, Damon, what does it say?
It's a duck and a devil. Here we go. Hey, everyone.
He's got one more too. He says, who's your favorite to win it all in college football?
Hoosiers until otherwise. Why not? Go Hoosiers.
I like the Hurricanes. Did you see what they did to the Seminoles in Tallahassee this weekend?
They're good.
They're good. I like the Hurricanes.
Larry, fun show, man. It's weird doing a Monday show without having a game to react to, but the Niners handled business so well on Thursday night that it sets up an awful lot of business in Tampa on Sunday. So it's going to be a fun week on the channels. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe to both, please. It helps the algorithm just kiss us on our forehead every single time you hit that like. Thank you so much. And Larry, I'm going to give you the last word today. What do you got? Wrapping up?
I got a busy day today. So I'm off to Santa Clara. We will visit with Kyle Shanahan in the auditorium in a couple hours. We'll go into the locker room, do some of that as well. Talk to some of the players. I believe I'll be streaming later with Grant, and then I'm going to be streaming after Monday Night Football on KMBR's YouTube, or not KMBR's YouTube, on KMBR Radio. I won't be streaming. I'll be on the radio after the Monday night game. So catch me tonight, roughly 8:30 to roughly 9:30 or so. And then Dieter and I are going to stream after the Monday night game, most likely. Looking forward to that as well. So busy Monday for sure, but that's going to do it for us. Thanks to our sponsors. Hit like and subscribe on your way out the door. And if you want to help us out, shop our sponsors. It always helps them out. We appreciate all you guys. Damon, have a great Monday. Thanks to everybody. Peace.